Welcome back to the AJ and Titus Show. I'm AJ, that's Titus, and we have a special guest today, and an even more special guest to me. That he has to have one of the more special intros that we've ever had. So I'm gonna go real quick through this. He was a 4-year varsity starter at Peoria High School. He's a 3-time All-Area player. 2001 Area Player of the Year, Peoria area that is, Central Illinois. All newcomer team in the Valley in 2004. Second team All MVC 2006. All Valley tourney in 2006. 2-time first team All Valley performer. 3-time All Valley period. Scored 1,493 points, 662 rebounds, inducted into the Bradley Hall of Fame in 2016. We have Peoria's own Marcellus Sommerville here. And how are you, my brother?
Wait, can I?
You want to clap it up?
That's an intro right there.
That sounds like award-winning type stuff right there.
We just did when we're like, "Hello, this is Gary Moore," and here we go. Interview start. This cat got the best intro I've ever heard.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome, man.
Thanks, bro.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Glad to have you
with y'all
here.
today.
Definitely. So, first thing I want to ask you about, man, is who is Marcellus Sommerville? Many people don't know. Marcellus is one, if not the most undervalued, unappreciated, underrated basketball player that's come from the city of Peoria by far. I would say him and David Booth when it comes to just what you've accomplished throughout your career, that's the consistency, the professionalism. Never heard your name in the newspaper for negative reasons, and I know that's by design because it's the man you are. So, but with those expectations and those things, how was it in the beginning for Marcellus Sommerville?
Just a kid in the south end of Peoria. I grew up in Harrison Homes, actually, Taft Homes. We flipped back and forth, but just a kid that just loved hooping, but never organized. It's interesting that I didn't start playing organized ball until I was, 12,
Wow.
11. I made the 7th grade team. Didn't make the 5th and 6th grade team, but made the 7th grade team because I was big, strong. So ended up making it, and man, just falling in love with it, honestly.
Yeah.
Back then, at White Middle School, that was either the thing to do or you could get caught up in something that you really didn't want to be a part of. And I'll never forget Carl Cannon came and spoke to us. Spoke to us during PE one time, and he was just, man, he scared the crap out of us. I mean, you know how big he is.
Yeah, Carl ain't no joke.
And how big he was at the time. I think he was fresh from overseas or somewhere. He was a correctional officer. I know they told us that, and he gave us a speech about all of y'all gonna end up in jail. All of y'all gonna either end up dead. It was like it was crazy numbers that he was giving us, and he was like maybe 1 or 2 out of this group will be something.
Right.
And man, I was like, I'm gonna be one of those.
Right. Yeah,
He's like, I'm 1 or 2.
And then at the time I was living with my mother, and then. She felt like I needed a male role model at that young age. I would say around 12, 11. So she forced me to move in with my father, and that changed my life. Honestly, I think he wasn't accustomed to having a 11-year-old, 12-year-old running around, but he stepped up and he took responsibility, and it was a learning curve for both of us because I was used to being with mom and doing whatever I wanted, and he straightened me up.
Dad wasn't having that.
No, he wasn't having it. So, I mean, to make a long story short, I ended up falling in love with basketball. He kept pushing me towards the right way, straightening me up as far as academically. And then once there, I fell in love with going to Central.
Right.
I'll never forget, I went to a Proviso East tournament up in Chicago with Central on the bus, and then I was like, man, this is where I'm about to play ball at.
Yeah, right.
He helping these mugs travel. I had never traveled outside of Illinois at the time. Out of Peoria at the time, honestly.
Right.
And just having the ability to use basketball to take me places was
So it just opened a whole new world for you.
Opened up a whole new world for me, and then from there, we were ranked at Central. We did amazing things. I was able to get 2 or 3 years at Nike All-American Camp. Was in Indianapolis. So I was seeing things that I've never imagined seeing at that time through basketball and academics. So, man, that was like, this is what it's about, like for me. And then I'll never forget, I got a letter from Syracuse University, and Coach Bishop was like, man, this is my sophomore year. It's like, you're going to have the opportunity to go to school for free. And I looked at him like, what?
Right.
Like, what? Why? And, at the time, you don't really understand that because that's not your goal.
Right, yeah.
And coming from your household and coming from the family. I was the first to graduate from college.
Oh, nice.
In my household at the time. So having that kind of pressure and understanding of who I was at the time, which was a kid, 6'4", 6'5", that just was raw and had a work ethic that wanted to get better, in every aspect, whether that was academically, basketball-wise. So, I mean, really, I like to compare myself to some of the greats, of course, like AJ, the David Booths, the Sergios, the Marcus Griffins on the basketball court. But really, I never forget, Coach Bishop told me a story about AJ. He is like, I think it was, you had biology.
Yep.
Your junior or senior year, I can't remember.
Freshman year, and I got a D
Yep.
in biology. And in order to get in college, we had to go to summer school. So similar to his story, I started realizing that I had a chance to go to college after about my sophomore year. But I had messed around in two of these classes, math and biology. So what we had to do was we had to go to summer school, and we had to take those courses over in order to get our GPAs to boost back up and do what we're supposed to do. So here I am, a senior, going into my senior year. I'm in a class with freshmen, in a summer school class with freshmen, in order to improve that grade. It was humiliating, but it was really the turning point of my understanding what I had done and what I could have prevented, and started me on the path to making sure help people make sure they don't make the same mistake.
Right. So Coach Bishop used AJ's situation to kind of instill in me that you don't want to do the work or do the job on the back end, but do it on the front end.
Right.
And I'll never forget, it was my sophomore year. I had Mr. Tuggle, and I'm telling you, I was like not doing well in biology. I don't know why.
I gotta ask him one question now. When you had Mr. Tuggle, did he still have that entire 3-liter of soda sitting on his desk? 3 liter. They don't even make those in name brands, but he had a 3-liter of 7-Up. You can't even order that.
Yeah, you can't. Like he had everything. And he talked about everything.
He did too, man. He made you crave lunch.
Yeah. So, so I ended up doing well in the academic side of things, and then just basketball just kept on trying to develop, man. Honestly, and I take a lot of pride in working, and I saw my father the way he was. He worked his butt off, so I was like, that's the only way to have some success is by working. So
you're fortunate to have such a good father and good dad. To be away from him for that period and be thrust into that relationship and for it to work like that.
Right. We had my stepmother who helped us a lot for sure. But no, he was everything for me, and I think that's what, like I overheard you guys talking earlier. I think that's what the community is missing. Not just us, sheroes or heroes or whatever. They're missing real, true male figures like leaders to come and grab them, by the shoulder and be like, "Hey, man, I believe in you. I believe in."
Come this way.
Yeah, come this way. You can achieve this through this.
And fathers, man, every other Friday don't do it. You don't get this every other Friday. Okay? You need to really step up, man, and be a part of your kid's life. Because as you see, just by his dad being a part of his life to help shape him.
Right.
And he is one of the greatest players to ever come out of this city, and he's frankly a legend in these parts. And all because he had strong parental figures. Take that out of the equation, he might be a statistic right now. I mean, who knows? I tend to believe he would be in the same spot just because he's so determined and such a good person that nothing would have stopped him. But realistically, I mean, if you got that kind of support system, I mean, you forget about the failures and all you do is look towards the good parts because when you come home, you've got that support. So parents, try to be that to your kids, man. It's so necessary.
what Sellers encountered, and that's difficult today, and difficult in most families and kids, is he found a passion early. Like I was blessed. I played JFL football, and I liked it, but I really didn't love it. And when I found basketball, that's what was my true passion, and that's what drove me. So when you find that passion that drives you, you get tunnel vision. You don't see anything or anybody else, and all you want to do is that particular thing. So we as male figures in the community, we have to do a better job of steering our young children towards their passion. And as Gary talked about earlier, was introducing them to a myriad of things, of different things, not just basketball, not just baseball, whatever. It's so many working behind the scenes. He talked about working behind the scenes at his Raising in the Sun play. People make millions of dollars to organize that, the lighting and all these different things. So we found our passion early. I mentioned earlier that you had a great high school career, man. What was it like playing at Peoria High for Coach Bisher?
Playing for Coach Bisher, it was fun. I mean, it was different from what I was used to in grade school for sure. But I mean, it was structure, there was discipline, we worked hard. I mean, it was a ton of fun as far as like what we got exposed to.
Yeah, for sure.
Like especially Bisher being like a father figure, in a lot of ways. Teaching us how to tie a tie, teaching us how to dress. Teaching us how to not groom ourselves, but preaching that you have to look presentable in everything you do. Right. First impression is everything.
A lot of people don't know Mr. Bisher like that, but what you'll learn about him through these stories is that he was one of those people that actually went the extra mile. So it wasn't just about having kids and going out there and winning games, number one. He actually cared about the students in a way that you could see, and it was tangible too. So even those type of things help to propel, people into the next level when you know that they care about you more than just your ability, but for your well-being and where your trajectory is. So finding those people are rare, but fortunately they both got to experience it on a level that few of us will. So I just want to give shout outs to Mr. Bisher right now. I know the cat, one of the best cats you're ever going to know.
Yeah, so we got exposed to a lot of things. He taught us about life skills, as they call it, but just things that will prepare you for more than just basketball and more than, your time, your 4 years at Peoria High. I really feel like, I don't know if AJ feels the same way, but I'm sure he does. He feels like he prepared you for college. Yeah. He prepared you for what to expect from a coaching standpoint, from what was expected of you as academically. He made sure he was checking our grades and stuff like that. So he was on top of everything.
Yeah. So. What was it? Can you have a most memorable high school game?
Oh man, took the words out of my mouth.
Shoot, man, I got a lot of them, honestly. But
what's that one?
Probably my first experience, and it was on the losing side of it. My first experience playing in the field house.
Oh yeah,
against Manual, and me missing the box out. David Ruse tipping it in over my head for the game winner.
And this is a guy that's played probably 500 professional games.
That's an assist, right?
He's played 500 professional games, 120 college games, and he still remembers his first time in the field house missing the block out.
Missing the block out. I'll never forget that, man. That was crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Let me ask you this: when was it that you figured out that this went beyond a passion, where you knew that this is what you were going to do? When did you know that's it? That was the end for you. You was going to be this and everything that comes with it.
I mean, honestly, I was that kid, and I told you I didn't start playing till late, and I believed I was going to the NBA because everybody told me I was, and I was big. So the real passion developed when I got to college. Maybe high school, in there. I knew I had goals to get a free education. So that was my drive for the college side of it. But then once I got to college, it was like, all right, so what is the next goal? Okay, the next goal is to potentially play for money. Whether that was NBA, whether that was overseas, because AJ had experience overseas, David Booth had experience overseas. So that, of course, and AJ will tell you, and I ain't trying to pat myself on the back, but I was a sponge. When people talk to me,
for sure,
I took in everything. Right. And I still do that today. And I think that's the part about me that makes me special, because if someone I don't care who they are. They could play it on Morgan Square back in the day, and they're like, hey man, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'll look at them and I'll listen to them and I'll think about it, whether it works for me or not. I'll try it, you know. Or I'm not saying that it always works out for them or in that way, but I've always been the person that takes advice and try to use it in some way, shape, or fashion to make me.
A lot of people can't handle it. They can't. They know what they're doing. They're the best at it, and they're going to do this. But it's the people that are like you and like AJ that appreciate a wealth of knowledge from people that have done this before. And it's just really cool to see how accepting you guys are of that and how that helped to develop and change your style. So
yeah, for sure.
Now you had a phenomenal high school career, in my opinion. Like I said, you were a 3-time All-Area. I think there's only 2 other players that was 3 times All-Area. That means your sophomore, junior, and senior year, you were on a first-team All-Area. I believe it's Brandon Hughes and Doug Altenberg. I checked that though. But then, so that means you're getting attention, getting college attention, and you made a decision. A lot of people don't know this. You made a decision to attend a college. What college was that?
I attended the University of Iowa. Of course, I wanted to play in the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
I actually had plans to go to Michigan State. Honestly,
Really?
Coach Izzo was on his way. He was on his way on the plane to come see me and Bisher, and Calvin Torbert committed.
Oh,
right before he got on the plane, and so that made my scholarship was gone at that time.
Yeah.
And then Illinois had a scholarship as well, but for some reason I wasn't really wanting to stay in state at that time, and ended up going to Iowa.
Right.
And it was a great experience, man. Honestly, I redshirt, which I didn't think I was going to, because every kid thinks they should play right away and that they ready, and I wasn't. I wasn't. Coach Offer had in his mind for me to play the 3, the 2, you know, and that's a learning curve in itself when you come in from playing 5-4. So, and my game had evolved throughout high school, where I was just a finisher in the paint, and then I developed a 15-footer, like Mike Taylor, Coach Rousseau would say, and then I evolved even more, where I was stretching it out to shoot some threes by my junior and senior year, and so I kept evolving. So they saw the work ethic, I guess, at Iowa, and they offered me a scholarship, and so they redshirted me, and they wanted me to continue to grow there, but it didn't work out as far as me and Steve offered.
We get you. Everybody knows the transfer to Bradley, but are there any regrets on the transfer from Iowa to JUCO first, then to Bradley?
JUCO.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, why did you go to JUCO and not just straight to Bradley? Well, like I said, I redshirted my freshman year. If I would have went directly to Bradley, I would have had to sit out another year. And that rule has now changed. But so to play and be able to play, I was like, I'm going to go play at one of the quote-unquote best junior colleges in the country. And I ended up going to SWIC, and we were ranked and did a lot of great things.
He was an All-American at SWIC, averaged 24 and 9. He's a first-team JUCO All-American. Everybody knows about the big transfer to Bradley University, where he really made his imprint on the city of Peoria. What was it like playing in college basketball in your hometown?
Special, man. And it really is. It's really special because you know it's a lot of pressure from as far as tickets, family, friends, but being able to play in your hometown and bring the city together, like me and Daniel talked about it numerous amount of times of doing it together, and I was happy that he was able to come there and play with me. But man, like bringing the city together, I mean, Bradley was full almost every night just because we were Peoria kids, you know what I mean? And to support us, and they knew us from childhood, and the games were full every night, and playing with that support and that type of feel, being a Peoria kid was amazing, man. It's nothing that I would change about it, honestly. And then to go my senior year and achieve what we achieved as far as winning and games in the tournament and things like that was, man, phenomenal, honestly.
What was that Sweet 16 experience like?
I mean, it was what every kid dream of, honestly. It was That's what every kid dreams of, as far as like playing on the big stage,
Right.
and then not just playing, but competing at a high level and beating some of the top ranked teams.
Right.
I mean, whenever,
Proving everybody wrong.
yeah, proving everybody wrong, man.
Right.
And I mean, just that it goes back to, like I said, when you were younger and you're playing in, Harrison Home, you playing in Taft Home, and then it's like, all right, everything's coming full circle.
Yeah.
Man, we could compete with anybody. You compete down here at Morgan Square, you know what I mean? Things like that. So, I mean, it is the pride of Peoria, is what we like to say.
Right.
And we carry that. We carry that everywhere, whether I'm playing in France, Turkey, I mean, of course, we have some big name people who are from Peoria, like Sean, and you have Richard Pryor, and that's what they always associate us with.
Right.
But we have some players. We have had a few great players
Exactly.
come from this area.
Yep. So Sweet 16, you have a great career at Bradley. You finish top 10, 15 in scoring. You lead the team to its first Sweet 16, I believe, in over 50 years. You're the best player. How long was it? Did you say?
No, it's 50.
Oh, 50 years? I thought it was 50
50
something. I just
50
remember 50. That's a long time. And it probably is going to be a long time for that to happen
Century.
again. But
Yikes.
and then you get an opportunity to play professionally. So how was that process? Let's rewind back to your end of your senior year in high school, where you was trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Because people don't understand. Like, it's a whole. You have to sit down. You have to pick an agent. You have to pick somebody that you have no idea who they are, if they really have the connections that they're saying they do, and then you gotta trust them to steer your career in the right direction. What was that process like?
That was a hard process.
I'm
telling you.
I picked
Like,
the wrong one.
Did you have help with that?
Of course,
family
you
step
take-
in and.
Not necessarily my family, because they've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like trying to help you find the right people.
So you go to people who experienced it, of course, right? So I went to Coach Les, AJ, David, Booth, people that I associate with, and just try to do my own research as well. As far as what players they have at my position, how I'll line up in their vision, and of course they all give you the best pitch possible.
Yeah.
And I ended up signing with BDA, my first agent, out of Chicago, and I had them for about 6 weeks. For real.
It's tough.
This is true. And I let them go because I felt like the direction we were going, or they wanted me to go in, was completely sold on being in Europe. And at the time, of course, the dream is to play NBA.
Yeah.
And maybe if I had an open mind at that time about it, I would have ended up staying with them. But I just felt like they were ready to put me in any situation and kind of be like, okay, we checked him off the box, as far as a player.
Got
and
him
they
a job.
didn't, how it works. And so I didn't like the direction they were talking about, so I fired them. Then I hired Hank, who was Hank Thomas.
Yep. Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. Who was my agent for 3 years after that.
He was also Dwayne Wade's agent. I think. Did he have Sean for a second?
Chris Bosh, Sean Livingston.
Yeah. Big time agent.
CSMG was his agency. He had a lot of great players and a lot of great overseas players at the time. So he was my first true agent that really helped me in all facets, as far as helping me with my finances, helping me with my first job in Europe, which was Hungary, which I wasn't in love with, but I saw the big picture of what he wanted me to do as far as playing international play.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, it was a tough decision.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I picked the wrong one, and it had a negative impact on my NBA career. And I don't ever blame the actual agent. I mean, things happen, but I was told that you pick an agent that didn't have like a whole bunch of connections. This is what I was, the information I was fed. But when I got into the NBA, I started realizing that it was all about connections. And these agents are connected. These agents, as you can see, agents are becoming general managers now. That's how connected they were, and that's the culmination of this connection of agents. So, for example, if Dwayne Wade is in Miami and Hank Thomas is his agent, and Marcellus is one of Hank Thomas's clients, then if there's a spot on the Miami Heat. And they want to satisfy Dwayne Wade, then they'll throw Marcellus Sommerville. And so it's important who your agent is. And I learned that the hard way, and I think it flipped. And Marcellus got, and actually Sean got, the best of an agent that was supposed to do what they were supposed to do. And as you get older and he's pro career, you start realizing, all right, I really don't need to pay an agent that much money to do this work for me now. I know the landscape, I know everything. We'll get to that. So,
this sounds exactly like the music game too. But the stories I'm hearing, take basketball out, switch it for music, switch it for the rap game, and we're talking the same exact stories.
Right.
Like I'm just sitting here, like just relating on a whole nother level of similar things and similar firings and similar jumping labels, doing this, tours here, when I wanted to be doing tours there and whatnot. And
that's why hoopers want to be musicians and musicians want to be hoopers, because we're going through the exact same thing.
It is.
That's
Similar thing.
until I literally just heard this, like on this level, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was this close related.
That's the politics of it. And as he said a great point earlier, was like, when I came, nobody had ever gone through that. And so I'm sitting here with my parents who don't know very much about it either, trying to navigate this big landscape. A small town kid from Peoria who finds himself at the end of the first round, beginning of the second round. If I do it right, I could be first round. If I, worst second round. So there's no blueprint. And so sometimes you got to be what they call the Indian that runs over the hill to see if they coming or not. You know what I mean? So I was the Indian, like, oh, okay, here they come. It's 30 of them. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn the harsh lesson from it. And that's what happened to my professional career. But anyway, that's important for people to know. Hey, it's a lot more to it than just going to the NBA. Now there are more avenues.
Right.
Now, if he came out today, he would have been in G League for 2 years, and he would have an opportunity to make an NBA roster. Because now they're affiliated with the actual NBA teams. When we came out, the G League was just starting to get going. I was at the very beginning. He was probably right after that. And it just was not, for an athlete to play, make that kind of money and sit around and wait when your overseas comes and says, hey, dangling $20,000 in front of your face and say, come right now. So that's very important. So you're 15 years in it. You've played 15 years professionally. You mentioned that you started out in Hungary. And but you had what ended up being your favorite place and the place that you would call your European home?
I would say France. I've been there. I was there. The longest. I was there 9 years out of my career, and I floated between, I want to say, 11 teams during those 9 years. And it was. I raised my children there, mostly my wife and me, and it was a great experience. My two eldest kids speak fluent French, so that's a bonus for them. And it was a great experience, honestly. We spent 3 years in Orléans, and we have friends that are in France that we call family today, So, and it was just an experience that you can't even imagine. As a Peoria kid to have experienced all that.
You alluded to it earlier. It was like you had never been out of Peoria.
I had never been out of Peoria.
And then you end up in Orléans, France, and playing in France. How did that European experience, and I know what it did for me,
right.
how did that European experience shape you to the man you are today and the outlook that you have today?
It has, I like to tell people, I was a quiet kid. I was a quiet person. Didn't really like communicating that much. And just kind of to myself, well, where you go to Europe, you are alone. And if you don't learn to adjust, adapt, and I feel like I've always had that ability to adapt to any surrounding, especially moving from area to area in Peoria as a youngster before I moved with my father. I feel like it shaped me tremendously, man. it opened me up. It was like like a flower blossoming, whereas you have the ability, like I said, to communicate with people that you don't speak the same language, the first language. And
so without that, your interactions may have never got to where they are.
Yeah. So I mean, it helped shape me in that way to see the world as much differently, to respect people's way of life, I guess, or lifestyle, and culture.
And that's one of the things AJ elaborates on is like he said this once, and he said, "Get out, go experience someone else's culture."
You have to,
like you need that. People do,
and when you do, you may learn something from them.
You
and
can be
then
humble
you take
with that,
and you use it for your family, for your family values, for your family to start your own kind of culture, and then that's what I told AJ all the time. That's when we will take our experience that we learned over there and bring it back here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing. Actually, on another note, that's what I'm doing with the academy, is taking all the experiences I've experienced from a basketball standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a standpoint of being over there for so many years, and bringing it here and letting kids know you can do this. You can empower yourself. You can believe in yourself. You belong here. You belong there.
Yeah.
And once we all put it all together, man, it's gonna be amazing.
I hearing you talk about this, I just gotta say this quick little story. Once upon a time, I'm doing a tour, and I am in Canada, Montreal, and Quebec, and I'm going back and forth through this month-long process. So a lot of people out there speak French. You'll have the most gangster dude in the world walk up to you and be like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, you look really nice. You familiar?" And you're just like, but this dude's like hard and gangsters. And what I'm alluding to is these little learning curves when you get into other areas and how they talk. So I'm at a restaurant and I sit down and this lady walks up to me and she goes, "Do you want some posy?" And I was like, what? And she was like, "Posy, you want some posy?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I got a girlfriend back home. Like I'm straight." And she was like, No. So out there, posy is where you take mashed potatoes and French fries, and there's some sort of ketchup that goes on top, and it's like this popular dish. So you talk about a learning curve. I'm sitting there thinking I'm getting solicited just because I don't speak the language. So it is important to get out and experience the culture. I mean, I couldn't even tell that story unless that had happened. But that was crazy, funny all at the same time. I had a great laugh about it, nice and embarrassed. But I couldn't believe it. And it's some form of mashed potatoes with French fries that they put gravy on. That's what it was. Okay, see, I get it confused now. Now I'm over in another continent in my head. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. She was like, "You want some posy?" And I was like, "What in the world? Can we go out to dinner first? Like, what's going on? Like, what in the world?" But anyway, that was too funny. But
that's a great story, man. You spent 9 years in France, but you also spent a year in Hungary. You also spent a year in Argentina. You also spent a year in Turkey. You also spent a year in Japan. You also, what am I missing here? Germany, Belgium.
That's it, I think.
A lot of stamps in that passport, and we are
Creve
Coeur, yeah. And it changes your perspective, your outlook when you see the way people don't understand why the Europeans come into our game and they're so skilled. But when you're overseas and you're playing and it's part of your life, you see that's what they do. They train, they work twice a day.
They train, they work.
It's a practice just for skill. Yeah. And then you practice in the evening, it's team practice. And you do this 3-4 times a week. And you have no choice but to get better.
You have no choice.
And those are the type of things that he's going to bring back and put into the young kids that are participants in his academy. And we understand that you just retired.
Right.
And is it one of those Jay-Z retired? Or is it retire?
No, it's retired.
It's done. You're done. Okay.
The Legend League is coming. I haven't worked out the nuts and bolts, but it's coming.
Yeah. The Legend.
The Legend League. I'm telling you, man. All these legends, they need to get together once a year to play one game for charity.
Yeah,
We do it right here. All the proceeds go wherever we need them to go,
That's
and we
dope.
get these cats out of there to just fire up, man.
Yeah, I'll be a part of that.
I'm my Chicago people. I've been trying to do this Chicago versus Peoria.
Oh, that's
charity
we
basketball.
gonna make that happen. That's
game.
done. Legend
Bring
League
us up.
happens.
A lot of my friends, Will Bynum, if you listening, Lou Head, all you dudes come down here and get y'all heads busted for charity. And bring my Peoria guys out. I know we old and decrepit, but we still gonna play. And but that's a great idea, you know.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Because what I think is missing is, in a piece of from our youth perspective, is the inspiration.
Yeah.
Like when I came into high school, I was trying to be like Chris Reynolds. I was trying to be like Tony Singer. I saw that in front of me, and I was willing to do whatever it took to become that and to get these same opportunities they have. But for some reason right now the bridge is closed, and our children aren't looking ahead to anybody. We're looking next to us, but the person next to us doesn't really have the answers that what a next generation academy is going to be able to give you, or what all the things all of us are doing to put into these kids to show them, hey, we are an inspiration. We're here to only inspire. That's what we're here for. And we want you guys we're going to take in all these experiences. Like I played in the G. I tell everybody I played from the G League all the way up to the NBA and everything in between. Low leagues in Europe, top leagues in Europe, and on purpose, just like my professional career, I like to experience jobs. I don't like to, unless I find something I'm falling in love with. I like to switch it up and learn a new job skill so that I can be well rounded when it's time that I'm ready to do a job and settle down. So
that's
this
right
is
on
very
point.
important.
And that's when I talk to kids. That's what I try to preach. I don't want you to be a great basketball player only. I don't teach kids that are only the good basketball players. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you want kids to be well rounded, whether that's mannered, respectful. All these different facets that we put all together into one kid or two kids. You know what I mean? We want them all to grow with this mind frame of, I want to be not just a good basketball player or a good art student. I want to be a well-rounded person.
Exactly. And they think because we're basketball players, we're just solely focused on basketball.
But
We're so much more than that.
That's what we're doing to bring them in.
Yeah.
We're dangling the steak to the lion, like, come get this if you want. But when they get in, we say, we want to teach you those social skills. We want to teach you how to handle your emotions. We want to teach you how to be a better teammate. We want to teach you how to handle adversity. When things aren't going right, what do you do?
Wax on, Daniel.
Because all those things,
learn it.
all those things you use in the game, I call it the game of life. Like, I'm in the third quarter of my game of life. You know what I'm saying? And some kids are in the first, but college students are in the second. We're in our third, and then our parents and our grandparents, they're in the fourth quarter. And what quarter, in the basketball game, the quarter determines how to approach the basketball. You don't play the first quarter like you up 20. You play the first quarter to establish yourself. You play the second quarter to extend your lead. You play the third quarter to extend your lead, and you play the fourth quarter to have something behind you that's sustainable.
You just
and
kick
you don't have
knowledge
to
to
worry.
everybody
So
out there.
that's what we talk about when we talk about our academies and camps and clinics. It's not just about basketball. It's just using basketball to reel you guys in, which brings me to the Next Generation Academy. So tell us how the Next Generation, where do you get the name from? I think that's an awesome name. How did that name
And
come about?
that's also your foundation, right?
No, my foundation is Marcellus Sommerville Foundation. But
Okay, and then you have the academy separate from that?
Academy separate from that.
Okay, two complete separate entities.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
But they are intertwined because they kind of feature in the same, I won't say same, but
So you're not talking the talk, you out there actually walking the
out
walk.
there working.
yeah, trying
That's
to
what
walk
I'm
the
talking
walk.
about right there.
And how'd you come up with NGA?
I came up with NGA in Israel. I forgot I did that in Israel.
Too.
I
Shout
came
out
up-
Tel Aviv, one of the best cities
Yeah.
out there.
So I came up with it when I was playing in Israel. I saw this tennis commercial, and it was like Next Gen. And I was like, dang. That's dope.
Cut. We don't want any copyright infringements.
No, I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it. I really didn't, because theirs was Next Gen.
Yeah.
And it was talking about
I've heard that.
Tennis and, you know, impacting these kids through tennis, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, man, that's kind of dope. And I liked their logo that they had.
Yeah.
But I didn't take their logo.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for the record. But, just for the record, for real. I
Trying
didn't
to stop him before he went. It was like,
No,
you
so-
steal that, man?
No, I add generation to it.
No, it's
We will
So-
not incriminate you on this video. We will
Allegedly.
We will add it. Got it.
No, but Next Generation was created in Israel. The logo, everything I did myself, like literally.
So you do graphic work too?
Yeah, I studied communications in college, and we had a few graphic design, web design classes, and so I have a little. Plus, it's like a little hobby that I like to do.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, go right there.
Yeah, that's the logo right there. So half of it is basketball at the top, and then you have the second half is the net.
Awesome.
And you know,
That's just simple.
I basically feel like I always try to say Kobe, you know, AJ, David Booth. These people had it right. You know what I mean? As far as giving back to the younger generation, he was in college and playing pro when he was giving back to me, and I was a high school student. And we started something together a few years ago, several years ago, called Mad Skills Academy. And
You got a shirt like that, don't you?
Yeah,
Man, okay,
yeah,
that's
so
what it comes from.
we
Shout out
started-
to Howard Nathan too, man. I had to throw your name out there.
Yeah, and so we did that, and it evolved and did great actually. And then we formed another situation where we did something else. But so my way of thinking was always put back into the next, you know, the next generation.
Yeah, for
so it was kind of simple, but yet it's very intriguing as far as like the words and the meaning behind it. It's basically I want to empower these young kids personally. Want them to feel a sense of belonging, not just through basketball, but in their social life. Because a lot of kids struggle with so many things: depression, fitting in, all these different things. And somehow or some way, basketball kind of brings them on an even, you know, playing field where they may not have the same skill set. But, you know, everyone's success is different. If I can teach a kid at the beginning of the camp that can't go between his legs, and then by day 3 he can go between his legs, that's success for that kid. You know what I mean? So that's
and that's a whole new world for that kid too.
yeah.
Like
So
just being able to do something so simple is like life changing at that age if you want to be a ball player.
and he feels or she feels a sense of, you know what I mean, accomplishment, and they're there. So that's what Next Generation is about. It's about empowering these young kids, young boys and girls to feel a part of something special.
Well, let me ask you this: and I like to ask people in your position this a lot. What advice can you give to that person that's watching right now that has got the skill to literally make something of themselves, but they want to know what they should be doing, how should they be approaching everything? What advice do you give the young yourself that's 12-year-old and just now found out they love the game and they have some major skill? What would you tell them in order to aid them on their success?
AJ alluded to it earlier. Just have a passion for it. Love it. Like, it's not going to be easy. There's no way it's going to be easy, but yet you have that passion and love for it, and set goals for yourself, and then go get it. Like, literally
Set goals
and just dive right into it. And as far as like if I was talking to my younger self, I would continue to talk to myself about developing my skill as to play on the perimeter, because that's what I was lacking in, I would say, during my course of my college career. And as I became a professional, as AJ said, Europe is different. They train during the morning individually and evening practice. And so all those hours of developing my ball handling and things like that, my game has evolved so much since playing high school, college days. And people are like, how can you still get better? At your
I've
age,
even got better in the intramural league. Like I'm almost able to play.
at 38. So
Right.
they always
If 3 people
wonder-
get hurt, I'm in. So There's that. I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, man. Yeah, but he's 100% right. What I try to tell kids is try to distinguish what like is versus what love is.
Yeah, that's
A
tough.
lot of kids like basketball. A lot of people like the sport they playing, but they don't love it. And you are a lover of music and entertainment. You have two people up here. I was a lover of basketball and just working, you know. And they don't understand. I can easily tell because all I gotta do is invite you to the gym. And if you don't come and work, you don't love it. Because if a person that loves something and you give it, you offer it to them,
without shoes
they
on
gonna
to
come
get that.
and they gonna, what I need to do. This is what I knew he was gonna be special when I think it was in your sophomore year.
It was going into my junior year.
And
I'll never forget.
He kept calling me and asked me for a workout. That don't happen. Like most college kids never do that. And we came in and he worked and have been working ever since then. I was like, he has a true work ethic and a passion. His trajectory, whether it's NBA or overseas, he's going to be one of the best. And that's what happened. He maximized his potential.
And that's what we
at the
try
end
to
of the
teach
day.
at Next Generation is maximize who you are individually, and so you can help bring back and give back to the community as well.
And you see this too. He is an amazing ball player, amazing coach, amazing activist. Does all this stuff through the community. But you see too, through all that, there was another thing that was instilled in him, and that was the desire to go outside of that box. That's how you get to the ability and place in life where you can actually create your own logo, create your own clothes. You can give yourself a brand. You can start all kinds of franchises and business. So throughout that whole process, school was important to him and learning and soaking it in. And that's one of the things that I would express to these young kids that think that basketball is a full ride. That's an end all. It's not. You break your leg, that's done. It's over with. Now you got, the rest of your life to deal with. And that's something that both of these gentlemen have excelled in, is learning and, like you said, being a sponge and soaking these things up. So if basketball disappeared tomorrow, nothing's going to stop these men from being successful and doing exactly what they do because they've learned other things along the way. So I just want to impress that upon anybody watching, that it's not just basketball. There's so much more to these people, and there's so much more to the desire and to the build of getting to that level. And you just have to experience it all, and you have to take it all in and make sure that your goals and your thinking aren't just one-dimensional. I mean, you wake up, you eat and sleep basketball, but you got to know how to dress. You have to know how to conduct yourself. You have to know how to be respectful, how to deal with situations, what to say, what not to say. And these men exemplify it. So really, really take a page out of these books because these are phenomenal minds as well.
Back with Marcellus Sommerville, leader of Next Generation Academy, Peoria High, City of Peoria legend. So what's next for Marcellus Sommerville? Transition, and a lot of people don't know the transition from European sports back to the States is not easy, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to ingratiate yourself back into the swing of things in the community. What are you doing to make those things happen?
Just continuing to push the academy, push the foundation. We started a AAU team just recently, so it gives me an opportunity to be with the kids longer hours, more than just a workout or two. So it gives us an opportunity to really dive in and touch these kids through mentoring and different things like that. So we started the academy. Started the AAU side of things, and I'm excited about it. Honestly, it's in the beginning stages. Like you said earlier, there's no book on it, but we're gonna definitely mentor. We're gonna definitely uplift these young men and women, and give them something to shoot for.
How can they get involved with your programs? What do they need to do today?
We have a website, Next Generation Academy, or acad.com.
Click that.
Yeah, and then we have also a Facebook page that we have, Next Generation Academy Facebook page, Marcellus Sommerville Foundation Facebook page, and we usually have content going up quite a bit through Courtney, who's my assistant, who helps me quite a bit with all that.
So making sure you share, like, subscribe, and help him in his endeavors.
And that's for 8, 6.
The age group is, I mean, we start them. I mean, we have various ages. Honestly, to me, is to get them early, influence them early, and hopefully they continue to be involved with the academy. But the challenge is to get the kids that are 15 to 16, 17. Those are the kids I really, I have a passion to want to reach.
Yeah.
So if you were a teacher, that's the grade you want to teach.
Right.
Yeah. So those kids really, I feel, really in the Peoria area need some direction.
So much talent here.
And just not speaking on the basketball side of things, but just direction, like AJ said, through their academics, through their journey of what they want to do. You know, a lot of them don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it's sad, but it is what it is. It's reality.
Yeah.
And I really hope, but our academy features kids 5 to 14, basically. And we want to get them involved in basketball some way, shape, or form. If they like it, if they love it, it's just a trial, to figure out. But we would love for them to be involved highly.
Now, the Marcellus Sommerville Foundation, what's next for this foundation?
Well, the foundation does an annual back to school bash that we do every year when we throw a big party right before school starts, and we give away, I think we've given away over, in the last 6 years, over 13 or 1,400 backpacks with school supplies.
Oh, wow.
And, we continue to do that every year. And we have a few sponsors that's helped us over the years, like DHL, who also has helped us provide backpacks and stuff like that for us. But yeah, man, we looking to do different things, new things. Just try to be innovative because everybody's doing some of the same stuff.
Right.
And,
I agree.
all the time we don't want to reach the same kid over and over and over. But at the same time, the more the merrier. So the foundation is really pushing that way as far as just trying to feature the kids. Like I said, I'm always about featuring the young adults, the youth in Peoria, Illinois. So that's fun.
What advice can you give parents out there that see potential in their kids and want to really nurture that? What would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to really get their kid in a coach, or let's say someone that has some knowledge or has some experience, and get them some true instruction.
And AJ has said that before. The problem is a lot of time these kids end up with people that don't have that knowledge, that are acting as if they do, and they do more harm than good. So we're looking for people that really have experience to share.
I mean, I don't want to put a knock on anybody
Right,
what
right,
they're
right.
doing, but at the same time, I
will.
AJ will, but I feel like if you want your kid to attend college free, let's say, for instance, on a scholarship, I think, me personally, I would want someone instructing my kid that has had that experience. Not saying that the kid coach that has only, or the instructor that has only reached high school doesn't have the knowledge.
So you want to find somebody that's really knowledgeable if you see the potential in your kid, and to really help them pursue it.
Right, because experience has taught us that, especially being me, I always went to the people that had the knowledge. Case in point, AJ. Case in point, David Booth. Those people they see things that certain people can't see, or they have a feel for a certain way of developing someone that other people may not see.
Or we failed, and we won't tell you don't do this. This is what I did wrong.
Yes, that's true. And
Failures are the key to success.
oh
I'm telling
my gosh,
you.
they are. And to see and know everything that we've learned, and then be able to help a kid.
Because you identify it like that, like, ooh, I know where you're heading.
And that's what I said. Sometimes I feel like I rub some parents wrong when I'm like,
you honest.
I don't see this, or I don't see that, but I see this and I see this. So I try to be as honest as I can, and in shaping them. I'm not gonna tell you something that's untrue just to have your service or your, you know what I mean, as far as
That's some integrity right there.
So
You know how I found a way to navigate that is to say, this is what I think your kid can get out of this sport.
oh yeah,
Instead of saying she can't play college basketball, she's not good. I'll say, well, I think she's one of our better communicators. She's learning to sharpen her communication skills. She's learning to persevere because she would stop and quit at first.
Right.
But this is what you can, instead of telling kids, you're not good enough.
right,
Never
and
tell
that's
a kid
what
that.
people think
Now they
that
work
basketball is.
self-esteem.
Yeah,
All
and that's
that.
what people think basketball is only about having the elite kids.
Yeah,
I have a true challenge in love for developing that kid that just has love for it and not as skilled, because you teach them a lot of different ways. And then, like AJ said, kids excel in different areas. They excel in the communication side of things. They excel in the side of things of, okay, thinking to play ahead. You know what I mean? So their basketball IQ translates. I mean, there's just so many different pieces to basketball that has helped.
And what
me
people don't see
and
that we
people.
see is there are general managers. There's other jobs.
Yeah.
You got radio people, you got radio
Analytics.
broadcast, you got analytics now, you got general managers, presidents, you got the photographer on the sideline, you got media, you can make a living just if you really love the game and you're not as talented and skilled, you can still gain that knowledge of the game that will help you in that skill going forward. And I think that's what we are definitely talking about. I'm hearing that there's you have a son that's pretty good, and he's talented. And tell us a little bit about Mr. Lathan Sommerville.
Lathan is a unique player.
Bias alert.
And
Bias alert.
Explain to the
unique.
people. No, explain to the people why, because I know where
By
you're going with
unique,
this.
I mean he's 6'6", 6'7",
Jeez.
can dribble the ball, can pass.
And how tall
the
are you?
ball. 6'6", 6'7".
Good Lord.
I don't know. I ain't measured him.
How old is
He's
he?
still
I
growing.
might be shrinking.
How old is he?
Right.
He just turned 15. So
Oh, man.
yeah, he just.
We
unique.
lucked out with you for a
And,
dad.
I mean, he got a tall mom, so that helps. But yeah, he's a really smart player. I think he's developing leadership. So everybody thinks leaders are born, but I feel like they're
You
made.
can develop leadership.
And of course, some people are born naturally leaders, but I feel like they're made. And so he's developing that side, the mental side, because this is another thing AJ will definitely agree with. Basketball isn't just if you can run, dribble, and shoot. You have to have the mental side to really exceed and be special. And so he's developing that side of it. I mean, like I said, he's a unique player. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can post up, he rebounds really well. Sometimes over people's backs. But,
Oh yeah. You can do that overseas. Ain't no blocking out.
Ain't no blocking out. So I guess that's where he gets it from. But no, he's a really talented kid, and he loves the game. He's a history buff. I mean, you can have him on the show right now talking about the greats in the NBA, I should say, and he knows all of them.
Right.
He watches videos on all of them, and so he wants to be. He has dreams and aspirations to be someday a college player.
I bring him on the show. I'm gonna give him fictitious names from history.
Okay, yeah.
Be like Curly JoJo Johnson. He used to play in Globetrotters 3. What do you think about him?
Oh, yeah,
You start throwing him off.
Yeah, he won Curly Boob dunk contest about 5 years ago.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. So no, he's
gonna make some stuff
I
up
feel
that
like
day.
he's gonna be one of the better players someday from Peoria, and that's another reason why we came back home, because to do what I'm doing now in another community would be a failure to me.
Right.
And I was like at the point of my career where I was done, and mentally and physically, like I said, Kobe, AJ, and them said it best when they say you have to inspire. Once you develop all this knowledge of the game, you have to find a way to give it right back to these kids. So I stopped mid-season actually this year.
Yeah, you did.
And to do that, my son was struggling. My oldest son, he was struggling with not having dad there, and I was gone for 4 or 5 months, and he was struggling. And I was like, man, basketball isn't as important right now today. So I have to go back and help him with his mental, his physical, his understanding of the importance of school, which every kid struggles with. And I was at that age where 13, 12, where I struggled with that, and my dad stepped up. So to make $1 off of basketball or take home a check is not sufficient enough to miss out on the opportunity to raise my son.
And shout outs to good fathers, man, good mothers and good fathers, man.
Kids.
Like y'all are everything.
Have you and the family decided where he's going to go to high school?
We still mulling over that, but at the same time, I feel because a lot of things are in the air, and we don't know what's going to happen potentially with the Peoria High job, and we don't know what's going to happen really all over. So we keep an open mind. Like I said earlier, I have a very open mind about everything, and we at the end of the day, it's not me who's going to attend school there. It's him. So I want him to be comfortable and understand that he's going to excel wherever he goes.
Regardless of where he goes, he's got the best trainer and the best mentor in the city of Peoria riding with him, so he's going to be successful. But all we want to spotlight are our young kids coming up. I have a daughter coming up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's crazy.
Undefeated daughter coming up.
Yeah, she's undefeated. You tell that story because I had to give up coaching to come be with my family.
Yeah.
And it was if you know coaching is very political, and it takes a while to climb the ranks, and I got to where I needed to get to, but my daughter's needs was more important than my career.
Right.
And I couldn't shake that. Every time I go home and I'm thinking I miss a game, or I miss her championship game, or I miss a tournament, I'm like, I need to be there. So the purpose became even more about what is for my family than it is about me. And I think you can tell we're cut from the same cloth. We come from the same up background when it comes athletically or family wise, and because we make the same decisions. Because ultimately it's not about us. There's no need to bottle up all of this knowledge that we've obtained and just talk about how great we was back in the day.
You'll never. And that's probably why AJ said, like, I've never been solely talked about in the Peoria area like that, because I don't boost myself. I don't. And if you don't promote yourself in that way, you probably won't be considered that way.
For sure.
So I'm not that guy, man. I'm not like that. So
well, you deserve it, and we're gonna be always boosting you here. I mean, because you
100%.
But because you worked hard, you worked
hard.
He's worked hard. He's working hard. He's a perfect. Right. He's a perfect example of what player development can do for a person and a player all the way to their 35, 36, 37 years old. We just playing in the SBL today, and I'm running this alongside him, and he pushing the rock, and I'm like, that Sellers pushing the ball. You remember I said, point forward.
Right.
And I was like, dang, he couldn't do that.
No.
Back in 2006. He would have kicked that thing off his foot, and we'd been like, dang, but now I cut to the rim, and he's never used to pass. And now he hitting the pass. I'm like, oh, man, I wasn't even looking, man, because I don't expect him to do that. Now, when Daniel has the ball and you cut, you're supposed to be looking.
Right.
So it showed me, like, dang, this dude, the game is really developed. Right. And that's a testament to his work ethic. So, man, once again, thank you for being on the show, brother.
Wow.
And we look forward to following your progress. And once again, go to nextgenacad.com to sign your kid up. I'm vouching for this. I don't vouch for any AAU programs because I don't know them. But this one I know, and if your kid has the opportunity to, wants an opportunity to develop in all phases of the game and life, then Next Gen is where you need to go. Also do a bunch of pop-up activities over spring breaks, and so be watching for that on the website, because he's doing 3-on-3, doing some skill development, open gyms, all these different things that we need to do because they're not natural to our kids anymore.
Right.
All these things we used to go out and do on our own. It's on our parents and on our mentors and on our leaders to establish those things, and I think that's what Next Gen Acad is doing. So make sure you go sign up to that website.
And then just real quick, how can people out there that want to help sponsor you and maybe donate time, donate resources, what can they reach out today to try to give you that?
Well, they can reach out to our email, which is Next Generation, NEXTGENERT, right, ION.
Click that.
At gmail.com. Sorry about that. He can put it up there.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
Oh, it's up there. It's up there right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, just email us and we'll point you in the right
Help.
direction with each
Make a difference.
each event that we host or do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Great to see you, man. Have you on the show, man. Thank you.
This is great. Look at that hand, man. Woo!
Yeah. Peace.